Welcome back to Z's and Threes.
For three for the win. Yes!
The people have spoken. We have listened. The one-take Jake format is a hit. We will stay with it. Tonight, the plot thickens in the Western Conference. The 2 through 8 race continues to get crazy. This is the one to watch down the stretch. Only 2 teams have clinched playoff positions in the Western Conference. The East is set. 1 through 8 we already know. 7 through 10 the play-in. It's just a matter of seeding there. In the West, there's a lot of uncertainty. The second team clinched a playoff spot tonight. I'll let you know who. The Thunder, well, they are the other team. They did so a while ago, but made more history this evening, standing with some of the best teams in NBA history. In the East, the 2 hottest teams, win streak-wise, met on opposite ends of the standing spectrum. Who was it and who won? I'll let you know. If you like the show, please do like, subscribe, share with a friend. Give us 5 stars if you're listening on pod. We start, as always, group chat game of the night. And this is the first time we have gone to the defending Western Conference champions for the group chat game of the night in a long time. This is the first time I have watched a substantial portion of a Dallas game since Anthony Davis went down with an injury, and he was the story of this game, playing his best since that Dallas Mavericks debut, that he made such an impact in the first half and then went down with the groin injury. But Davis is back, and Dallas is trying to make a push to maintain their play-in status. They were hosting the Atlanta Hawks this Wednesday evening in the game. Well, it went to clutch time. Dyson Daniels makes a 3 with 2:19 left that puts the Hawks up 116-115. It's part of an 8-0 run punctuated by Onyeka Okongwu, who made a push shot to take the lead to 3. It stayed there until Klay Thompson buries a 3 to tie it up with 41.5 left. Hawks ball, 24.6 seconds on the game clock. Shot clock was at 7 after Davis registered his 5th block of the game of Trae Young, sends the ball out of bounds. Mavs get a stop, so there's 7.7 left. Do they go for the final shot to win the game? Game is tied at this point, so they can walk it off. Worst they do is go to overtime. Anthony Davis gets the ball, goes off the dribble to his left. Floater, good. Mavs up 2, but they leave time. 3.4 seconds left. Hawks call a timeout, advance the ball. Get it into Trae Young, who attempts a 3-pointer, a rainbow over Davis. Doesn't block it, but influences it. No good. Air ball. Mavs win 120-118. These 2 play-in teams in the West and the East. Mavs getting a big win. Anthony Davis, the game for him. 34 points, 15 rebounds on 14 of 23 shooting, 5 blocks. Are the Nico Harrison apology letters being penned in Dallas right now? I do not think so, given how much animosity there is. But what to make of these Dallas Mavericks if they are to get healthy with Anthony Davis going into the playoffs? Granted, they will not have Kyrie Irving, but could the Mavs make any sort of waves? If the Mavs played the Thunder 8-1 in the first round, do the Mavs have a chance? Rest of the slate, we start with the big dog games, and no dog bigger in the NBA this season than the Oklahoma City Thunder. 10 wins in a row, a league high. Tonight, their final game of the season against an Eastern Conference opponent. They have absolutely torched the Eastern Conference. They were hosting the Detroit Pistons. Still no Cade Cunningham for the Pistons. Talk about that later in house shoes. Another 30 ball for SGA, 33 points, 10 of 26 from the field, pressing the ethical borderline with 12 free throw attempts. He had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 steals. 23 from J-Dub, 11 rebounds from Chet Holmgren. This was not a competitive game, so we will focus on the history made tonight. The score was 119-103. The best interconference record in NBA history, 29-1 for the Oklahoma City Thunder against the East. Their lone loss was that game against the Cavaliers. 50th double-digit victory that ties the 72 Lakers for the most double-digit victories in the regular season. This their 11th win in a row, and they still could hit 70 wins. They are at the Rockets on Friday. New York Knicks aforementioned Cleveland Cavaliers. 3 wins in a row for New York. Cleveland 5-5 over their last 10. They are locked into their respective spots, 1 and 3 in the East. So, do they rest starters? Do they load manage? No, not Kenny Atkinson and not Tom Thibodeau. They will play their starters. They want to hit the playoffs with their momentum. I don't know. You let me know. Should teams load manage to get healthy? Knicks build a 15-point lead in the second quarter, but they get run out of the gym in the second half. Wild lead swing alert. Outscored 71-45. Donovan Mitchell, with the team everybody said that he would be on inevitably, the Knicks, goes up against them, drops 27, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Statement win for the Cavs. Knicks, they play hard as expected, but man, they need Jalen Brunson, their leader, their point guard, back as soon as possible. 2 hottest teams in the East, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics. Celtics 9 straight, the Heat 5 straight. This one, the burner was on high, all Heat. They won the first quarter 29-22, then built a 22-point lead. Celtics were able to cut it to 5 or less 4 times in the second half, but could not get over the hump. They waved the white flag with 5 minutes left. It finished at 124-103 after losing 10 straight, the Miami Heat, after the Jimmy Butler drama and trade. Spo and Co., they've got it right. They got it rolling 6 in a row. They snapped the 9-game win streak of the Celtics. Celtics go 12 of 43 from 3. The Heat 14 of 30. That seems to be the stat that matters the most these days when you break these games down. Any of the data scrapers out there, I know you guys exist. I know you watch this show. What is the league-wide win percentage for teams that make more threes in a game this year? I would be interested to know. 7 players in double figures for Miami. Tyler Hero has a game-high 25 to go along with 6 rebounds and 9 assists. Tough shooting night for Jason Tatum, 4 of 17 from the field, 2 of 9 from distance. Handle your business games. Utah Jazz, Houston Rockets. Jazz losers of their last 6. The Rockets, their last game against a sub-500 team. They needed this one, and they would get it emphatically. 143-105, 22 from Jalen Green, 21 from Dylan Brooks. Alperen Şengün, a double-double, 15 points, 14 rebounds, 9 dimes. Houston becomes the second team and the first non-OKC Western Conference team to clinch a playoff spot. Next 5 for Houston. Oklahoma City Thunder in Houston, then at Golden State, at the LA Clippers, at the LA Lakers, and then Denver at home to end the season. All teams that they are in the mix against. And they will have to do the next game without Dylan Brooks, recipient of his 16th technical foul of the season after a Draymond Green-esque follow-through kick to Colin Sexton's groin. It occurred on a shot attempt. It was reviewed by the officiating crew, and Dylan Brooks received the technical. That's his 16th. That invokes the suspension. The potential suspension increases by a game for every 2 additional technicals from here out. So if he gets 2 more, that will be a 2-game suspension. San Antonio Spurs, Denver Nuggets, both teams on the back-to-back coming off losses. The Spurs on the travel back-to-back, they lost to the Magic. The Nuggets played late into the evening in their double overtime thrilling loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Spurs, they've lost 5 in a row on the tank train. The Nuggets, though, here's where we talk about load management. They pulled every substantial contributor, minus Russell Westbrook. They put them on the injury report. No Jokic, no Murray, no Gordon, no Porter Jr., no Christian Brown, and no Peyton Watson. Are they trying to tank? Was it a Russ redemption game? Boy, has he had a tough day on the internet. Not so much. He played well scoring-wise, but disappeared in the fourth. The Nuggets dug a big hole, playing their C-gang down 20. They cut it to 3, 88-85 at the end of the third, and take the lead briefly. It's a wild lead swing alert early in the fourth, but lose the quarter 25-21, and the game 113-106. 15 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists from Steph Castle. Here's where I ask about the Nuggets. I need someone from your sports science or basketball analytics, whomever, somebody that's apparently smarter than me, to explain the idea of why you load manage for the Spurs game instead of the Wolves game. They are not in a seeding battle with the Wolves at that point. This was the fourth game of the season. The Wolves had already wrapped up the season series 3-0. If you're going to load manage, which Denver clearly wanted to do, the game to load manage would be the Minnesota game, not the San Antonio game, which would be the easier, hypothetically, record-wise, game to win of the two. It makes no sense. Now, I understand that there are national TV penalties if you play players that aren't injured, and the Nuggets playing for pride, that is what we're talking about as well. But clearly, they want to load manage some players to prioritize health going into the playoffs. But they need wins in this West race, and they gave one away tonight against a lottery team. Also want to talk about Steph Castle, because if you are a Spurs fan, or if you are the Spurs, and you're sitting there looking at the play of Steph Castle, who's arguably in the driver's seat for Rookie of the Year and going to win the race, and you have De'Aaron Fox sitting there wanting a pile of money to re-sign, well, do you look at Steph Castle and say, we don't necessarily need De'Aaron Fox? They didn't give up a ton to get him. I'm not saying it would be a short-term rental. It could be, but Steph Castle really does look like the real deal. Denver does not handle their business. Charlotte, Indy, would the Pacers handle theirs? They would indeed. 119-105. 22 points, 10 assists night from Tyrese Halliburton. More on one of those later for Dunk of the Night. What to make of the Pacers? Can this team make noise again come playoffs? Remember, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They're a net rated team of 10th, so that's not one of the 6 best, but not bad. They have the 4th best offense in the league. They are 15th defensively. Staying in the 4 would mean that they play the Pistons 4-5 to begin the playoffs, and then a potential semis meeting versus the 1 seed Cavs. That is a tough road to hoe if you want to make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Pacers handle business, though. Pelicans, Clippers, final handle your business game. The Clippers, 8-2 over their last 10, still on their road trip. Chance to even themselves up with their comp set in the West if they were to get the win. And it was easy money in the Big Easy. Buck 14-98, 28 points from Kawhi Leonard, double-doubles from Ivica Zubac with 17 points, 10 rebounds, 6 dimes, 21 points, 10 assists, double-double from James Harden. Play-in posse, final game of the night. The Sacramento Kings part of that. Washington, well, they are well out of the play-in. Is there a team that is limping harder towards potential playoff position than the Sacramento Kings? And what is the cause of their dysfunction? Couple reasons. Maybe their point guard play. They traded away De'Aaron Fox. That was their franchise player. I understand that is hard to recover from on the fly. Is it their lack of a solid bench? They have struggled with bench play all season long. The second worst in the league points per game wise. The Knicks bench is worse, but that's because Thibs rides the starters. For the Kings, also their inability to defend. They are the 20th rated defense in the league. And tonight against the Wizards, that is what would cost them. Washington shooting 51.2%, 17 made threes, 7 more than the Kings. It's a 116-111 Wizards win, a team high 23 from Jordan Poole. Sacramento, their 3rd loss in a row. They do have a chance to get right their next game against the Charlotte Hornets. Kings get DeRozan and Levine, and they become the Bulls West. It really feels like a team going nowhere fast. What changes do they have in the offseason? How does all of that brew together for the standings in the East? After their loss, the Pistons are just a half game ahead of the Bucks for the 5 and 6 spot. The East play-in currently looks like this. Orlando, a half game up on Atlanta, who is a game ahead of Miami on their heater, who are a game ahead of Chicago. Those 4 are locked in. That will be the East play-in 4, but who will play whom? Remember, 7 plays 8. Winner of that gets the 7 seed. The loser of that game plays the winner of the 9-10 for the 8th and final playoff spot. In the West, the Lakers, they were idle, but they jumped the Nuggets into the 3. The Lakers have 1 less loss, but the Nuggets 1 more win. Both teams are 3 full games behind the Rockets, so that striking distance now is shrinking, but they do have head-to-heads remaining. 2 games from the Nuggets-Lakers, or Lakers-Nuggets are the Warriors. It is a three-way logjam after that. Minnesota, the Clippers, and Memphis are all 44 and 32 as it stands. Minnesota is in the 6, LA is in the 7, Memphis is all the way down in the 8, but they are just 2.5 games out of the 3. So Memphis, a team at one point that was in the 2 seed in the West, is now down in the 8 seed, but just by 2.5 games. Looking at, it's a half game from Golden State to that pairing of 3. So yeah, this can still get crazy. This is the race to watch, and there will be games to watch for this race coming up on Thursday. I will let you know when we get to what to watch. But we now get into the heavy pour leading score of the night presented by Portland Water. Check them out at drinkpdxwater.com. No 50 balls tonight. Anthony Davis scored 34. The dunk of the night goes to Obi Toppin off a fast break bounce pass alley-oop from Tyrese Halliburton. Performance of the night presented by Contract Year. Play in your contract year. Anthony Davis, this is what Dallas traded for. I have no idea how this will work out in the long term. Thus far, it obviously hasn't worked out in the short term, but these are the nights that they need and want from Anthony Davis. 34, 15, 5 blocks, game-winning basket, game-altering, winning, sealing, defensive play. Big news day. We start with Carmelo Anthony. Ready your speech because you are going into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. 6-time All-NBA or 10-time All-Star, NBA scoring leader in the 2013 season, currently sitting 10th on the NBA's career scoring list. A 2003 national champion at Syracuse when he burst onto the scene, unless you watched high school ball at the time, for Oak Hill. A 3-time gold medalist, 1-time bronze medalist with Team USA, the most decorated American men's Olympic basketball player. Melo, enjoy the Hall of Fame, and we will see you soon on TV. The Minnesota ownership saga of both the NBA Wolves and the WNBA Lynx is finally settled. The previous owner, Glenn Taylor, has backed down, and Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore's ownership group will have 100% control. The purchase price, $1.5 billion as negotiated back in 2021. It is a steal of a deal given that the Celtics' recent purchase price was $6.3 billion. Albeit the Wolves are valued as the second least valuable franchise per CNBC. They have them at $3.25 billion, but still a double on your return in investment for the new owners across the 4 years that it took to complete the sale. Purchase price 1.5, valued at 3.25. Not bad. NBA has started the transfer process. The Board of Governors vote is incoming. Taylor, on his way out, he had purchased the franchise for $94 million in 1994. So a hefty return on his investment for one of the NBA's most notoriously cheap owners. The new ownership group is now left with a $93 million luxury tax bill. So Taylor buys them in 94 for $94 million, and the Wolves, just to complete their roster, will pay $93 million in luxury tax. That is not just player salary. That is just tax that gets distributed to the other non-tax-paying teams. So that is one thing. They also have to negotiate re-signing their well-regarded executive of basketball operations, Tim Connolly, architect of the Denver Nuggets championship-winning team, and then going over and building the team to beat Denver. But we will see what the Wolves did. They beat them 2 nights ago. So that, a full plate for Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore and company. Joel Embiid, well, he is finally having knee surgery. It is of the arthroscopic nature on his left knee that hampered him the entirety of the season, limiting him to a career-low 19 games for a season in which he suited up. He is expected to make a full recovery. Remains to be seen, whatever that means, given the big man's injury history. Finally, the NBA will be looking into Ja Morant's hand gesture. The finger guns that he aimed at the Warriors bench in Tuesday's game, reciprocated by Buddy Hield, which will be looked at as well. Very bad optics for the young star who already has 2 suspensions for firearm-related infractions. So for the Grizzlies, when it rains, it pours. whores. Big game coming up for them on Thursday night. House shoes, and last week I had my Huaraches, and today I got my Huaraches. Yes, this is the originator right here, known by some as the lemon pepper steppers. These are fresh. I just bought these while I was in Mexico with the family. So I got my Huaraches on to talk load management. Yes, we won't spend too much time on this because it's been plenty debated already, but as we watch teams come down the stretch, I've already addressed such for the Nuggets and watching that game tonight, but with Cade Cunningham sitting on the sideline, it is so hard to determine, and the league has tried to step in, what is an actual injury versus teams trying to load manage strategically their stars when they have more to play for later in the season, aka the playoffs. Why do we play 82 games if there's just going to be the impetus to say, you know what, these games don't matter as much as the ones that may matter? Or I know within analytics departments, they are assigning value to games and saying, these are the ones that we need to play. Travel back-to-backs are big no-nos. If there's any sort of red flag on a player or a yellow flag for caution, they're not going to play them. But this is the reality that we've gotten into, to where the season's definition for most teams is going to be success or failure come playoff time. And what that means is load managing across the course of a long, strenuous 82-game travel-riddled season to make sure that you are as healthy as possible with those factors given before going into the playoffs. So teams, they look at it and do they say, does seeding matter, or is it more important to get to the playoffs healthy? And of course, it's going to be the latter. You would rather have a healthy team that is at least in the conversation than one that is higher, but they do not have health. So something needs to be done. My solution has been to shorten the season, and that's not necessarily playing less than 82 games. It would just be playing a cup season and then playing a truncated 58-game season to then compile to go to the playoffs. But teams need to be incentivized. They can't just be penalized to play their players, because we see that teams are willing to lose games or not put their best starting lineups out on the floor to ensure that their players are as healthy as they can be. No one will ever know what the health of a player is. Only the player can determine that, if they're a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I have the lingering feeling that there are a lot of players that we see missing games that are doing such because they say, well, I am hurt. And nobody's call is to make that other than the players and the teams. But if teams aren't giving their guys the green light, how do we adjudicate to say, well, they must play? It is a problem that is growing ever more so in the NBA. What is the solution? You let me know down in the comments. What to watch Thursday night's slate of 6 games? Well, all eyes will be on Los Angeles. Warriors, Lakers. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler against LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. The Warriors, they are 2 games behind the Lakers, the 3-5. This is a full game swing that is at stake. Only other game between 2 playoff potentials, well, that is the aforementioned Memphis Grizzlies trying to stop their slide against the Miami Heat. Heat, an East best 6-game win streak to the test. The Grizzlies in desperate need of a win. They're 4 straight losses, but the good news, Miami, they are a sub 500 team still. If you miss any of that, as always, Z's and Threes, we got you. Help us get to 100, like and subscribe. Hit the button. We will see you back here tomorrow. Peace.